My friend in school recommended Mr. Maidin to me. A lot of Mr. Maidin students now are like high flyers. When his O-level grades came out, we were like, wow dude, how did you do it? So like he does some sort of like this magic in his questions, and sometimes he takes it up to another notch. You have to know what you don't know. It's more than just a tuition center. I strongly recommend DDEC. It covers all the aspects of the topic. Under why are you guys simply existing? You guys just stuck. I was in JC, then I needed help with my mathematics and physics. That's when my friends were already studying in DDEC for like 2-3 years. They dropped by and they invited me for a trial lesson with Mr. Maidin. So my dad contacted Mr. Maidin and I went to meet Mr. Maidin. So my first lesson itself, he was already charming enough to get you hooked into his methods of teaching, which is very interesting. Because he doesn't only stick to academics, he gets to know you more as a human being. So when you spend time with him, you feel the commitment he puts in his work, and at the same time, you feel the urge and you feel the desire to also run along with him, and also study and get to know more about the faculty itself and the subjects and how it works beyond textbooks. So I live in Pasir Ris, so traveling here it takes about like 30 to 45 minutes. But the traveling is worth it. Good things in life doesn't come easy. The only sacrifice I have to make on my weekends to come, but it's worth the sacrifice. Across the board, like a year, I started to understand the concepts, the fundamentals a bit more. Because Mr. Maidin doesn't only teach you the theory, he teaches you how it comes about. So you start to appreciate the subjects more than just the theory. So you start to understand the concept, then he will tell you his own personal experiences in his universities or in his JCs, like how he does this certain programming and all these things that he did. Then he will give us inspiration to go about and do certain projects. So that gives you like an application process, like, okay, this is the theory that I'm learning. Then he will give you the avenue to go and apply it. So if you think about it in the long term, right, this improvement goes beyond the time where you leave the center. Once you enter uni or in your free time, whatever theories and softwares and everything that he shares with you, it eventually applies into your life. So it's more than just academics. So the improvement is long term and it's like an investment. You can't get the returns immediately. It takes time to grow, and eventually you'll get the goods at the end of the day. Mr. Maidin has his way. So for JC, right, he recommended for us like this book separately for physics and math that we got. And what the book does is it compiled questions from not only from a 10 years list, but also the older questions from like the 90s and things. So the questions were challenging. So sometimes we were doing like H3 questions. Like people are thinking, why would you do a H3 question? But it's the difficulty that matters. So you can grasp more concepts by doing a difficult question. So in A levels, like their difficulty would never match up to the H3 standard for the H2. So in a way that you can easily grasp the concepts. And not only that, Mr. Maidin's materials have like one question which is like 25 marks. But what that question does is, it covers all the aspects of the topic under one question. So like he does some sort of like this magic in his questions. Eventually do all the formulas and concepts into one. And sometimes he takes it up to another notch. And sometimes he will slowly input some university questions here and there. Then we will also not only get to know how much little are we learning, it will also like motivate us to know like, okay, there's much more things to learn. And that makes it more inspiring. And the materials, he uses audio, he uses video. Sometimes he even brings in alumni. We have our past alumni who are in NUS and NTU now coming in to teach us their ways. So we get like also a student perspective on how to pick up materials. So there's a lot of resources, and after your lessons, you can talk to Mr. Maidin. You can bring in your school materials, you can ask him, and he will also recommend like proper books and everything. If you look at life, right, academics just plays one aspect. It's just that one pillar. But what Mr. Maidin taught us is, there is more to life than just academics. One thing he always tells us is, more than academics, right, in your uni, more than your grades, is your context and contracts that makes a lot of changes in your life. So he always teaches us how to meet new people, how to exercise some sort of ethical experience in when you meet someone, how to look into their eyes, how to talk, how to project yourself, how to confidently handle people. When you have setbacks in life, he will teach you what are the things you can do to handle it. And then he will do things like he will teach us how to why are you guys simply existing? You guys need to start living and these kind of things. He will really motivate you to do a lot of things, and he will also like, you can talk to him about your personal problems, like, you know, whether it's like your home problems or your problems with your friends or relationship, and he's always there to like talk to you, give you his advice, his experience. So he's almost like a very fatherly figure to like his students, and that's what makes the whole experience very worthwhile, because you get to attach to it emotionally, to the point that even after I graduate from DDEC and I completed my A-levels, I stay in touch with him, and I'm always so happy, you know, when I feel heavy and things, and I go talk to Mr. Maidin, and it's a really good experience. It's more than a teacher, it's just a friend to you, and you can always rely on Mr. Maidin, you know, to get your back when things derail. One thing Mr. Maidin always tells us is that you have to know what you don't know. Because a lot of us focus on what we know, but it's not important because we already know that concepts of theory. But what Mr. Maidin always tells us is, know what you don't know, because that's when you can work on things. Because you have to realize that there are some things like, you know, unconscious incompetence, where you don't even know that you don't know that thing. Then when you go out and do like difficult questions, or you go out and face these people and things, right? That's when it becomes into like a conscious incompetence. So it's somewhat like, now you know that you don't know that thing. That's when you can start working on your things, you know? So these are the kind of concepts that Mr. Maidin enforces to you, and I use it in my everyday life. So now when I go, you know, when I'm in army, or when I'm applying for my uni, or when I'm generally looking at what I need to learn in life, the thing I focus on is what I don't know. So eventually I can work on that and add it to my list of things that I know. And you set yourself out on this course of every day you troubleshoot your problems. So you know what is in your, you know, your unconscious incompetence. And you slowly make yourself realize it, and then you can work towards it. And that puts you in a path of success, which eventually makes you a more open person, so you can look at things in a very different perspective. As a student, right, I have like zero regrets coming into DDEC, because it's more than just, not trying to be cheesy or anything, but it's more than just a tuition center where you meet people and you have a teacher. It's more like a family where you get to know everyone, because the class sizes are very small, unlike other tuitions where you have like 25 people sitting down having lessons and the teacher doesn't get to know you personally. But in this case, each lesson has like 6 to 7 people. For my JC class, we had like 5 people. So it was like a very close-knit group where Mr. Maidin will just sit among us, and then he will sit beside us, and he'll put his hand on our shoulders and he will teach. It's not almost like a teacher-student experience, it's almost like studying with your friend. So as a student who have gained so much from DDEC, you know, in terms of academics or what I've learned in life, I've made lifelong friends, and I've met someone like Mr. Maidin who I know is going to be with me in every step of the way. So I do not want to be selfish. I want to share this experience to anyone who's watching this video, who's looking for academic help. I strongly recommend it, not only just for the lessons and anything. Come down, and all you need to do is just come down and talk to Mr. Maidin. You know, just talk about your problems in school, your academics, and get to know him, and he will get to know you, and you'll feel the magic for yourself. It's very hard to explain via words. So I do not want to be like the person who thinks that people are, you know, irrelevant unless they're useful to you. But we can swap the cycle around, you know. Everyone is useful, everyone has a purpose. And we all, sometimes in life, we need that help to find the purpose. And you never know, DDEC can be the place where you find your passion and your purpose. Because I found mine here, so I'm pretty sure a lot of other students have made it big. A lot of Mr. Maidin students now are like high. I mean, not saying that your societal status defines you, but what tells you that the students have found their passion, and that's what made them go up there. So come down, check it out, talk to Mr. Maidin, you know, no strings attached, just come and discuss with him, and bring your parents along and show this video, and to the old students watching, like, hi, and hope you all can spread the word and come and find your passion. That's the most important thing, and I think DDEC can help you do it. I had a younger brother who also needed like academic help. That's when I recommended him to come and join Mr. Maidin. I mean, I insisted that he came and talked to Mr. Maidin and get academic help from him. Same for me. I mean, my friend in school recommended Mr. Maidin to me because he did his O-level grades really like flew up there, and we were like shocked because he wasn't the most intelligent or like the student who scored extremely well in exams, but when his O-level grades came out, we were like, wow, dude, how is like, oh, Mr. Maidin really helped me and he taught me all these tricks and tips to, you know, to tackle some questions. So that's when I was like, okay, we need his help now. That's why I joined. Then I recommended my brother to join. And I've seen a lot of other students that they brought in their siblings and friends. And what makes it worth it is that because the fees are also very manageable. So if you take like two subjects or 3 subjects, right, the prices like goes down. So it comes in like a bundle sort of thing. So it's much more manageable, like also like financially. And you can, so it's worth it. It's a good way to like come down. And also, you know, the funny thing is, right, I also got to know more about my brother because of Mr. Maidin. So you also get to spend time with Mr. Maidin and siblings. So it was actually kind of fun. It's unexpected, but it was kind of fun. So do it. So the old students watching, like, if your friends or siblings need help, don't forget how Mr. Maidin helped you. I think Mr. Maidin can do the same for your friends and siblings. So do recommend it to them also.